2. 3 were no bigger than teacups. The 4th, however, continued to grow and grow and grow until he was the size of a teapot. Mrs. Poodle took pride in teaching her puppies how to be proper pooches. They were taught to sip, never slobber. Good. Well done. Very nice. Nice try. They were taught to yip, never yap. Yip, yip, yip. Ruff. And they were taught to walk with grace, never race. Tip-toe, tippy-toe, whoa! The puppies were also taught how to look pretty in pink, nibble their kibble, and ride in style. Whatever the lesson, Gaston always worked the hardest, practiced the longest, and smiled the biggest. Mrs. Poodle was very pleased with all her puppies. Fifi, Foo-Foo, Ooh-La-La, and Gaston. Spring arrived and the proud mother was eager to show off her darlings. She took them to the park for their very first stroll in public. There was much to see. Daffodils, ducklings, dogs. Oh dear. Who do we have here? Rocky, Ricky, Bruno, and Antoinette. Would you like to see them again? Rocky, Ricky, Bruno, and Antoinette. This was more than a little awkward. The mother sized up the pups sized up one another. It seems there's been a terrible mistake, Mrs. Bulldog said, breaking the silence. Oui, oui, Mrs. Poodle agreed sadly. Whatever shall we do? Mrs. Bulldog could not come up with an answer. I guess we'll let them decide, she replied at last. Gaston and Antoinette were young, but even they could see there had been a mix-up. The two puppies began to circle around and around the group. Gaston walked with grace, Antoinette raced, Gaston yipped, and Antoinette yapped. And when they finally came to a stop, the puppies had traded places. There, that looked right. It just didn't feel right. That evening, Antoinette tried to fit in with her new sisters, but she did not like anything proper or precious or pink. On the other side of town, Gaston tried to fit in with his new brothers, but he did not like anything brutish or browny or brown. Ick. Antoinette and Gaston weren't the only ones who were having a hard time adjusting. The next morning, Mrs. Poodle forgot all about being proper and raced back to the park. Mrs. Bulldog was already there waiting with her burly brood. It seems we've made a terrible mistake, she nearly shouted. Oui, oui, Mrs. Poodle agreed happily. This time, Gaston and Antoinette wasted no time trading places. There, that looked right, and it felt right too. From that day forward, the families met in the park every afternoon to play. Rocky, Ricky, Bruno, and Antoinette taught the poodle puppies a thing or two about being tough. Likewise, Fifi, Fufu, Ooh La La, and Gaston taught the bulldog puppies a thing or two about being tender, sorry. And many years later, when Gaston and Antoinette fell in love and had puppies of their own, they taught them to be whatever they wanted to be. The end. So that, boys and girls, is the story of Gaston. I hope you enjoyed it. I also want to point out to you there is a second book, and a lot of people don't even know there's a second story. And the second story is called Antoinette. And so in this book, again illustrated by Christian Robinson, we have another story about puppies. And in this one, Antoinette is our hero. So if you're curious to hear the second story, you'll have to go to your library and check out Antoinette. So those are my two doggy stories, and I hope you boys and girls have enjoyed them this afternoon. And I'm so happy that I got to spend World Read Aloud Day with my friends in Nebraska. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye, everyone.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks, Rosa.
I was sitting at the computer and I had everything up, and now Caleb's using it, and he insists that he's just on it.
Thank you.
No. So?
Thanks.
Yeah, no.
End meeting.
Get off.
End meeting for